Level 1, the graduate. You walk across the stage and they hand you a degree. Political science, law, economics, whatever it was, it felt like a door opening. It was actually a door closing. The door to the life where someone else makes the decisions. From this moment forward, you're going to spend the next 30 years trying to be the person in the room who makes them. You don't tell anyone that yet. You barely admit it to yourself. You take a job at a law firm, or a nonprofit, or a state agency. The salary is not impressive. The work is not glamorous. You spend your days reading documents that nobody else wants to read and attending meetings that nobody else wants to attend. You do it without complaining because you understand something that your colleagues don't yet. Every room you sit in is practice for a bigger room. You volunteer on a local political campaign in your spare time. A city council race, a state legislative seat, something small. You stuff envelopes. You knock on doors. You stand in driveways and talk to strangers about a candidate you believe in, and some of them slam the door and some of them listen, and the ones who listen teach you something that no classroom ever could. People don't vote for policies. People vote for the person standing in their driveway who looked them in the eye and made them feel heard. You file that lesson away. You will use it for the rest of your life. You are 23 years old, and you are the least important person in every room you enter. You're also paying attention to everything, especially the person at the front of the room, especially what they do wrong. Level 2, the activist. Nobody gave you a seat at the table, so you built your own. You start organizing. A community group, a neighborhood association, a civic organization that meets in a church basement on Tuesday nights with bad coffee and folding chairs and 12 people who actually show up. You run the meetings. You write the agenda. You follow up on every action item because if you don't, nobody will. You learn the first law of political life here in this church basement with these 12 people. The person who does the work controls the outcome, not the loudest person, not the most charismatic person. The person who shows up every Tuesday and sends the follow-up email and makes the phone calls and knows the names of the city council members' assistants. That person. You become that person. You also start going to public meetings, city council, zoning board, school board. You sit in the back and watch how power actually operates at the local level. It is not inspiring. It is not what you imagined when you were studying political theory in college. It is unglamorous and slow and driven more by who knows whom than by what is right. This does not discourage you. It educates you. You testify at a city council meeting about a development project in your neighborhood. 3 minutes at a microphone. You have prepared for a week. You are nervous in a way that makes your voice shake for the first 30 seconds. Then something steadies. You make your 3 points clearly. You sit down. 2 council members look at you afterward. One of them asks for your card. That is how it starts. Not with a speech. Not with a grand moment. With 3 minutes and a business card. Level 3, the campaign manager. Someone asked you to run their campaign. A state legislative race. A small district. A candidate who has good ideas and no idea how to translate them into votes. You say yes before they finish asking. You have never run a campaign before. You learn everything in real time. Voter file software. Fundraising calls. Opposition research. Earned media strategy. Field organizing. Get out to vote operations. You learn each one the way soldiers learn things, by doing them wrong first and then doing them correctly under pressure. You are working 18-hour days for 4 months for a salary that works out to approximately $4 an hour. You don't care. You are learning at a speed that no MBA program could replicate. Your candidate wins by 600 votes. 600 votes. In a district of 40,000 registered voters. 600 people who might have stayed home, but didn't because someone knocked on their door twice and called them on the last Tuesday and reminded them that their voice was the whole point. You stand in the victory party in a rented banquet hall with bad lighting and a cash bar, and you feel something that you will spend the rest of your career chasing. Not the winning, the building, the thing you made that didn't exist before you made it. You manage 3 more campaigns over the next 4 years. You win 2 of them. You learn more from the loss than from either win. The loss teaches you that the best message delivered poorly loses to a worse message delivered perfectly. You never forget that lesson. It will save you twice. Level 4, the state legislator. You ran yourself, not because the moment was perfect. The moment was not perfect. You ran because you were tired of making other people ready, and you finally admitted to yourself that you were ready. The race was harder than you expected. Your opponent had more money. You had more doors knocked. Money buys advertising. Doors knocked buys trust. Trust won. You take your seat in the state legislature. You are one of 150 members or 400 members, depending on your state. You're nobody. You are assigned to committees that nobody wants. You have a small office with old furniture and a staff of 2 who are fresh out of college and work for almost nothing because they believe in something. You introduce bills that don't pass. You give floor speeches that nobody listens to. You vote on hundreds of pieces of legislation, and most of it is technical and unglamorous and has nothing to do with the grand ideals that made you want to run in the first place. But you also learn the machinery, how a bill moves through committee, how amendments get added at midnight that change everything, how the leadership decides what comes to the floor and what dies quietly in a subcommittee, how relationships built over years in this building matter more than any single vote. You build those relationships. You have coffee with members from the other party because you understand that governing requires it. You are not naive. You know who your opponents are. You know where the lines are. But you also know that the person across the aisle has a district full of people who deserve solutions too. You get reelected twice. Your margins grow each time. You're becoming someone. Level 5, the Congressman. Washington, D.C. You won a congressional seat. A real race. A competitive district. You outworked and outthought a better-funded opponent, and you won by 4 points, and 4 points felt like a landslide on election night, and felt like nothing at all on the first day you walked into the United States Capitol. The Capitol is enormous and old and serious in a way that makes you feel small. You walk those marble floors, and the weight of every decision ever made in this building lands on you at once. You find your office. It is smaller than you expected. Your staff is young and exhausted before the first week is over. You are one of 435 members of the House. You have very little power individually. You understand this, and you don't waste energy resenting it. You get on the right committees. You do the work that the senior members don't want to do. You build a reputation as someone who is prepared, who tells the truth, and who keeps their word. Those 3 things are rarer than you expected. You go home to your district every weekend. Every single weekend. Your staff tells you that you don't have to. You tell them you absolutely do. The people who sent you here did not send you here to live in Washington. They sent you here to represent them. You can only represent people you still know. You serve 3 terms. You pass 2 bills that become law. They are not famous bills. They are not history-changing bills. They are functional, competent legislation that helps a specific group of people in a specific way and will never appear in any textbook. You are proud of them anyway, maybe more proud than anything that comes later. Level 6, the Senator. 30 years old minimum. The Constitution says so. You ran for Senate and the race nearly broke you. Statewide, millions of voters, millions of dollars raised and spent. Your life examined in public in ways you prepared for intellectually and were not fully prepared for emotionally. Votes you cast 10 years ago weaponized. Words you said 15 years ago replayed out of context. Your family photographed in parking lots. You won. You are a United States Senator, one of 100. The most exclusive legislative body in the world, or so they say. What it actually is a room full of people with enormous egos and genuine intelligence and deeply held beliefs who disagree about almost everything and must somehow produce legislation together. You serve on the Foreign Relations Committee. You travel. You sit across tables from heads of state in countries that most Americans couldn't locate on a map. You begin to understand American power not as an abstraction, but as a physical reality. What it looks like when the U.S. shows up somewhere, and what it looks like when the U.S. doesn't. You also run a Senate office, 40 staff members, constituency services, casework, the woman in your state whose veteran husband can't get his benefits processed, the small business owner who can't get a federal contract resolved. This is where the Senate actually touches people's lives, and it is where you put your best people, because this work is invisible and essential. You give a speech on the Senate floor that goes viral. Not because it was the greatest speech ever given in that chamber, because it was honest at a moment when honesty was unexpected. You said something true that was politically costly to say. You said it anyway, because you had gotten to a point where the alternative was worse. The calls come in for weeks. From people who say it was the first time a politician made them feel like someone was actually speaking to them. You sit with that for a long time. Level 7. The presidential candidate. You announced on a Tuesday morning in your home state, standing outside the building where you started your first community organization. The folding chairs, the bad coffee, the 12 people. You told that story in the announcement speech, and you meant every word of it. The primary was 18 months of the most demanding thing you have ever done. You traveled to 47 states. You shook hands in diners at 6 in the morning and gave speeches in arenas at midnight. You debated your opponents on national television while exhausted in a way that required you to perform competence and composure from a depth you didn't know you had. People tried to define you. Your opponents, the media, the people who wanted you to lose, and the people who wanted you to win so badly, they put things on you that no person could carry. You worked every day to define yourself instead. In your own words, with your own record, with the specific, unglamorous truth of what you had actually done and what you actually believed. You won the primary. The general election was different. The whole country watching. The scrutiny at a level that makes the Senate race look like a neighborhood meeting. Every word parsed. Every gesture analyzed. Your family in a bubble that they did not choose and that cost them things they will never say to you directly. You win by a margin that feels enormous on television and feels razor thin when you understand the math. You do not sleep the night you win. You lie in a hotel room in the early hours of the morning, and you think about a church basement and 12 people and bad coffee, and the first time someone slammed a door in your face in a driveway 30 years ago. You think about what you promised them. Level 8, the president. They place your hand on the Bible and ask you to repeat an oath. 35 words. You have read them 100 times. You know them by heart. You say them anyway slowly, one word at a time, because each one is the whole weight of the thing. You are the President of the United States. The Oval Office is smaller than it looks on television. Your first morning you sit behind the resolute desk, and your chief of staff brings in the presidential daily brief. The most classified document in the world. A summary of every serious threat to the United States and its interests as of this morning. You read it, then you read it again. You make decisions every day that affect millions of people who will never know a decision was made. You sign orders. You make calls. You sit in the situation room while events unfold in real time on the other side of the world, and the people in the room look to you and wait. You discover that the presidency is not one job. It is 30 jobs held simultaneously by one person. Commander-in-Chief, Chief Executive, Head of State, Chief Diplomat, Leader of your party, Voice of the nation. Each role demands things that sometimes conflict with the others, and you must decide in real time which role is primary in this moment and why. You also discover that about 40% of the American people will oppose everything you do regardless of what it is. This is not a failure of your communication or your policy. It is the permanent condition of the office. You make peace with it in your first year. You stop trying to convince people who have decided not to be convinced, and you focus everything on the people who are still listening. You pass legislation that you are proud of. You make foreign policy decisions that you believe are right, and that history will evaluate without your input. You make mistakes. 2 of them are serious. You own them publicly because the alternative is worse, and because you decided a long time ago that honesty was the only thing you were unwilling to trade. Your family pays a price you can never fully repay. You never fully stop thinking about that. Level 9, the second term. They gave you 4 more years. Not because everything was perfect. Nothing was perfect. Because enough people looked at what you had done and what you had tried to do and decided you deserved more time to finish it. The second term is different. You know how the building works now. You know where the levers are. You know which relationships matter and which meetings are theater. You're more effective and more tired simultaneously. You focus on the things that will outlast you. Infrastructure, climate policy, international alliances rebuilt or built new. Education, The things that don't pay political dividends in the next news cycle, but matter in 20 years when the people in school right now are raising their own children. A crisis hits in your 6th year, the kind that redefines everything. An economic shock, or a foreign conflict, or a public health emergency. Something that no briefing book prepared you for, because it has never happened in this exact form before. You sit in the Situation Room at 2 in the morning with the best minds in the country, and none of them know the right answer, and they all look at you and wait. You make the call. You make it with the information you have, which is incomplete, and the judgment you have built over 35 years of public life, which is the most complete thing you own. You make it knowing you might be wrong. You make it knowing that not making it is also a choice with consequences. History will decide if you were right. You'll be dead before history fully decides. You finish your 2nd term on a January afternoon. You shake your successor's hand on the Capitol steps. You watch them take the same oath you took 8 years ago. You stand in the cold, and you listen to every word, and you remember what it felt like to say them. Level 10, the legend. You left the White House, and nobody followed you. That is the first thing you noticed. For 8 years, you moved through the world, surrounded by agents and staff and advanced teams and the machinery of the most powerful office on earth. Then January 20th came, and you walked out, and the machinery stayed behind, and it was just you. You're 60-something years old. Your hair is white. Your back is not what it was. You sleep better than you have in a decade. You build a presidential library in your home state, not a monument to yourself. A place where young people can come and understand how democracy actually functions. The slow, unglamorous machinery of it. The compromises, the failures, the moments where the right thing was also the hard thing and someone did it anyway. You write a memoir. You are more honest in it than your advisors recommend. You include the 2 serious mistakes. You include what you got wrong and why. You include the names of people who deserved more credit than they received. You tell the story of the church basement and the 12 people and the bad coffee because that story is the truest thing about you and you want in the record. You speak at college commencements. You sit on foundation boards. You call your successor occasionally when they ask, which is not as often as you expected, and you give your honest view, and then you let them decide because the office belongs to them now, and that is how it is supposed to work. Former heads of state call you. You talk about the things that are happening in the world with the shared understanding of people who have sat in those rooms and know what the rooms actually feel like. There is a small community of people alive at any moment who have held this specific weight. You are part of that community now. It is smaller and quieter than the outside world imagines. Your grandchildren visit on weekends. They do not care that you are president. They care that you push them on the swings and make pancakes on Saturday morning and know all of their friends' names. You are more present for them than you were for their parents. That is something you cannot fix. You can only do better now, which you do. You give a speech at university on the 40th anniversary of your graduation. You stand at a podium in front of 2,000 students who were born after you were first elected to the state legislature. You look at them and you remember being them, and you tell them the only thing that matters. The work is slow. The work is unglamorous. The work is done in church basements and at 6 a.m. in diners and in folding chairs by people who show up when it would be easier not to show up. The work is the whole point. Not the title, not the motorcade, not the 35 words with your hand on a Bible in January. The work that happened before all of that. The doors knocked, the calls made, the 12 people in the folding chairs who believed something could be better and came back the next Tuesday to try again. You are that work. You have always been that work. Somewhere tonight, a 23-year-old is sitting in the back of a city council meeting watching how power operates. She's taking notes. She is paying attention to everything the people at the front of the room are doing wrong. She already knows she can do it better. She is right. The cycle continues.